Yeah, I would like to bring up this issue of a letter that we received from Manchester today, actually from Manchester's attorneys, that is objecting to us passing the Pinkerton contract. That's not actually the part that I'm addressing. The part that I'm addressing is that they feel that they've not received an estimate of the number of 8th grade students that will attend Manchester next year. And that was due on December 2nd. So I am going to make a motion, I believe for the 3rd time, to have the superintendent survey the 8th grade students and to determine how many 8th grade students would like to attend Manchester next year and provide that number to Manchester. And to do that before January 2nd.
I'll second that.
Speak to the motion. This letter just outlines that was a tenet of the contract that we had signed and that we did not meet that requirement. And they are basically telling us in this letter that if they don't receive it by January 2nd, the attorney has been authorized to pursue any and all available legal remedies.
Is there any discussion on this motion?
I guess just for the record, I just would like to state that that Dr. Littlefield did have conversations with Dr. Livingston, and that although specific numbers were not given, she was notified that we did not expect any upperclassmen to change, and those numbers would remain the same, and that as we move forward with the freshman class, that we would keep them apprised. And I think that that was satisfactory, so this letter coming in is a little bit of a surprise, and I just think that that should be known for the record, and that we will now rectify that situation for January 2nd, seeing as the mayor would like to push that issue. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Liscard.
I heard what my fellow board member Axton said. If we learn nothing at all going through the recent legal discussions with Manchester, that what it says in a contract you must abide by, there were no surprises on my end, and I don't believe there were any surprises on Mr. Pearl's end, because we made multiple motions to poll the 8th graders to give them an accurate count, and this board constantly voted us down. I am very concerned that Hooksett will be put in legal defensive position again, and this is not our money, this is the Hooksett people's money. That's why I'm concerned. This one is not as troublesome to me as the next one that's coming, which is the good faith portion of our agreement. I think what we've done here tonight as a board is not in good faith. I'll state that on the record, and that's all I can say. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Dunbar.
So, as a follow-up, the other issue that John referenced on the back end has been addressed twice by our attorney, and I'll just give you a little bit of the wording so you guys get where we're coming from. Attorney O'Shawn, so this is from Gordon, which is our attorney.
Madam Chair, point of order. My motion is to direct the superintendent to make a survey of the 8th grade parents to provide an estimate. I'd be glad to discuss this next issue, but that is my motion at this time.
We're going to call this motion to a vote if there's no further discussion on it, and then Mr. Dumbo will be the first one to speak after the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Mr. Dumbo?
So I'll just read you the pertinent part because I want to read actually I'll read the paragraph. Okay, so by the way of background, I have discussed with Attorney O'Shaughnessy, who's Manchester's attorney, the question of whether
Point
paragraph
of order,
10...
Madam Chair. Does Mr. Dembo have a motion?
No, he doesn't. He's speaking to a point that Mr. Liscard's brought up, that we are in...
We're following Robert's rules very strictly.
Yeah, and I'm being lenient. I'm letting Mr. Dumbo educate the community.
We need a motion on the table. I was forced to put a motion on the table for the lottery. If we're following Robert's rules, please, let's follow Robert's rules.
Okay, I make a motion that Mr. Dunbo strike into the public record the letter from our attorney dated September 10th.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor. Go ahead and read it.
So I'll start over. By the way of background, I've discussed with Attorney O'Shaughnessy the question of whether paragraph 10, which is what we're talking about, prevents Hooksett from entering into one or a number of tuition agreements with other districts to send some or all of Hooksett students to those districts for the school years beginning after July 1, 2014 and thereafter. I pointed out to Attorney O'Shaughnessy and he agreed that paragraph 6 of the agreement makes it clear that after July 1, 2014, Hooksett may, but is not obligated to send its students to Manchester. As a result, the agreement contemplates that it is possible that Hooksett students may be assigned by Hooksett to attend schools other than Manchester after June 30, 2014. Attorney O'Shaughnessy has advised me that he and his client agree with me and that there is nothing in the settlement agreement or in paragraph 10 to prevent Hooksett from negotiating or entering into one or a number of tuition agreements with other districts for the education of Hooksett students after July 1, 2014 and thereafter. I trust this clarifies this matter. If you have any questions, please call.
Is there any discussion on the motion to strike this into the public record? Mr. Liscars.
So let's talk about trust.
I know we're speaking to the motion on the floor, which is
And
the
I
matter of
am.
entering this into the public record.
I am.
We're not discussing trust.
It has to do with Mr. Dembo's motion.
It wasn't Mr. Dembo's motion, it was my motion.
Well, your motion, Mr. Dembo's motion. I'm speaking to the motion and you rudely cut me off again. May I continue?
Yes, as long as you stated the motion.
Thank you. Well, you hadn't heard what I said. How can you tell I'm speaking to the motion?
I said for you to go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I was saying, this is about trust. And at the time that we struck this contract with Manchester, which is where Mr. Dembo's comments are coming from, the follow-on with our attorneys, discussing with their attorneys. And I'm not sure, is this public record that Mr. Dembo just read, or is this confidential information? I don't know who would know that answer.
Sorry. That was a, I can see it, so I
Absolutely.
can identify it. That was the legal opinion that I saw it on September 16th, and that I sent to the board in an email and indicated to the board that it was not a confidential correspondence.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Littlefield. So my point is at the time of the Manchester settlement, where that agreement that we currently have that was signed on July 30th replaced our other agreement. It was my understanding from reading that agreement, when we talk about good faith, and again, I put good faith down with trust, is we had a long-term relationship over 100 years. Manchester and Hooksett were trusting each other coming out of that court agreement. They trusted us that we wouldn't continue to make claims about state Board of Education minimum standards. We had trust in them, good faith, that they wouldn't challenge us on sending children to other districts. So in my opinion as a board member, and I'm only speaking for myself right now, and speaking for my constituents that talk to me, what that language is all about is, you know what, if you're gonna send kids to Londonderry, Bow, Pembroke, Pinkerton Academy, that's fine, because we've come to an agreement that you're getting out of this existing contract, we're gonna allow that, and we're not gonna challenge it. I definitely don't believe, and I'll state for the public record, that that had anything to do with allowing us to enter into a restrictive contract. Because a restrictive contract is a totally different thing. In year 6, we are going to force all 90% of the Hooksett children to go to Pinkerton. That is basically cutting Manchester out of any possibility to compete for our children and the education of our children. There's a lot of opportunity that I, as one board member, can't decide what parents are going to decide is best for their child, and I don't think anybody that approved this contract tonight can do that either. So that's, even though we have a legal opinion, that's why lawyers go to court and they have battles. We are currently setting Hooksett up for one major battle, and I believe we're going to lose. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on this motion? Yes, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, I just want to point out that in that letter, Mr. O'Shaughnessy puts forth his opinion. And I had asked, when this issue came up, that we have the Manchester Board of School Committee vote on this to whether or not it was their opinion, and this board voted down that request. And also, Mr. O'Shaughnessy says that his client, he agreed. Well, I think it's pretty obvious that they don't agree, or maybe they do, because today it's Mr. O'Shaughnessy that's threatening to sue us again. So, you know, it is what it is. I think we need to, you know, we're gonna get the estimate in there. I guess now we have crossed the bridge, so we will find out about good faith or not good faith, and what Manchester will do.
Is there any more discussion on this motion, or will we call it to a vote? There being no more discussion, I will call it to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by...
Could we just restate the motion? I'm just not sure what the motion was.
Absolutely.
The motion is to have Phil Dembo read a letter from the attorney to the record.
And I have a copy of that for you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0.